Hello, 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 and welcome to Updog Sports Talk. Ask me about Updog. My name is Matt Miller. I'm the host of the show today. Joining me today is the one and the only other person on the show today, Justin. Sadly, our intern is shipping up to Boston. To find his wooden leg.
Oh, yep. Yeah, the intern's shipping up to Boston. He will be missed.
I was in on that one for a minute. Tones, I'm gonna miss you. But have fun in Boston. But today we have an exciting, exhilarating show that a lot of you are gonna like. Justin, what are we doing today?
Yeah, so we are starting with an area that's very close to our hearts. We're going to be talking about the Battle of I-75, how Eddie George and Bowling Green really put up a statement win, and kind of more of the fallout from that. We'll be talking about the fallout from Black Sunday happening early this year. And we'll be going over some surprise teams, how they got here, and where they could potentially go. And then the FCS Playoff Committee just released their top 10 today. We will be reacting to that and giving our thoughts on basically what that means for the rest of the season there at the FCS level.
I am having
our Week 8 picks.
I am having problems on YouTube. Hold on.
Oh no, we're down on YouTube?
I think we are. Are we going on X? Can we get a thumbs up from somebody that likes us?
We are there from what I could see.
So we may not be going on YouTube.
Let me pop into the video here and see if. No, yeah, we're totally. We're in there on Twitter.
It's okay. Technical difficulties. Justin has broken stuff. There's a problem with the server. So Justin, if you can let everyone know that there's a problem with the server on YouTube. We'll probably have to put out an edited version of this.
Yeah, we'll put that out tomorrow. And welcome to our internal company meeting. Yes, we
for real.
That out.
Here at Updog Sports Talk.
Yes.
Here at Updog Sports Talk, we do have technical difficulties because we're a small show that prides ourselves on the little teams, sticking up for the little guy. Everybody always talks about the major news coming out of Columbus, Ohio, coming out of College Station right now. And we'll touch on some of that. But, I mean, we got to shed some light on the teams that everybody seems to either forget, ignore, or just straight up not want to watch or anything. So we like to shed light on those teams because they deserve some love too. So Justin, kick us off.
Teams and their fans. And the Battle of I-75 is this past weekend and was one of the most thrilling games of the entire week 7 slate. Bowling Green down 21-0, comes back to win it. This was, for one, like the setup for this was just amazing. Like, as someone who is from Northwest Ohio, it was really cool to see the stands just completely full for this game. Just so much passion from both sides of the Battle of I-75, Bowling Green and Toledo. Just the fan bases were really revved up for this game, you could tell. And it meant a lot. And it ended up being a moment where we got to see Eddie George and co. get their first true statement win. Now, they obviously, they've had other good results, like beating Liberty was a good game. But this was...
YouTube has a widespread outage.
R.I.P. YouTube.
Yeah.
It's not our fault! Yes! We're not technically incompetent.
Normally we are, just not today.
So if you like to watch on YouTube, you'll see this tomorrow morning. But anyways, yeah, so this was a huge moment for them. Again, this is the biggest comeback in Bowling Green history. They were 0-75 in games where they were down by 21 before Saturday. And Now they're 1-75, which, if you look at that number quickly, looks like I-75. This was like, you just look at how the staff adjusted throughout the game. And especially on defense, like, Gideon, ESPN Lampron was just an absolute playmaker and really just wrecked Toledo in the second half of the game. And the offense
we got a butt pick.
A lot.
We had a butt pick.
The butt pick. And of course, we cannot forget the butt pick that clinched the game. The offense couldn't move the ball consistently, but they found, like, you got to give credit to the offensive coordinator. Like, he found creative plays to get some big plays, get some chunk plays, and get on the board. And, like, it's just really a testament to Eddie George and this coaching staff to pull off such a huge comeback victory.
Yeah, I mean, that was a fun game to watch overall. Like, there was a minute there where, I'm not a big bettor. I didn't put any money on the game, but I talked a lot all week about how it was 10.5 spread in favor of Toledo, and I was like, that seems a little high. 2 quarters in, I was sweating bullets because I told a lot of people about that. So it was not fun for the first 2 quarters after I had pretty much just talked shit all week. But Eddie George gave a brilliant halftime speech, and then it looked like we had a completely different team coming out of the tunnel. It was the game was nice and even. Like, Toledo still kept going. It wasn't like they just completely stopped. They just couldn't get into the end zone. So it was nice to see, like, a little bit of competition there also. But ultimately, Bowling Green pulled it out, and it was fantastic. I yelled, and my daughter, who's 4, covered her ears and was like, "Why?"
Yeah, I know. I fortunately for everyone else in my household, nobody else was home at the time. The dog was at the groomer. My wife was out. She had to work. So, like, it was just me, and I was just yelling as loud as could be at the end of that game. That was one of the most thrilling Bowling Green games I'd seen in some time. And, as alums, like, we did not get to see Bowling Green win this rivalry. They did not. They had really good years. We saw them go to 3 straight MAC championship games when we were in school there, but we did not get to see them beat Toledo. So. And it really did feel like for a long time, like, even though we had good coaches there, they did not prioritize the rivalry. And you kind of saw, that was like, I think if you remember the Scott Loeffler era for one thing, it's the fact that he prioritized that rivalry. And then Eddie George just continued it, took it a step further. And now, like, we have some real, like, true beef now in this rivalry. And it's going to be a lot of fun moving forward. And really just, again, like, excellent for Northwest Ohio. That being said, Matt, maybe you have a last point on Bowling Green before we move on to the next one here.
I was just going to say, Candle was still there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Candle actually had a decent success against Bowling Green historically while he's been at Toledo. So, going into the game, like, it wasn't one of those where it was like Bowling Green's going to win this game. It did kind of feel like Toledo kind of was going to have their number this year. But Eddie George, just brilliant Eddie George, that beautiful bald man, was able to pull it out, a butt pick at the end. Probably won't see that ever again. But yeah, I mean, there's not much to add. I mean, we kind of touched on everything in the game.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing, the other side there, Toledo, I'm sensing some frustration from their fan base about Jason Candle after this one. They're now 3-3. You could probably argue that they should have won all 3 of the games they lost. That part is frustrating, but I wouldn't go as far to say
we are back up and running on YouTube.
Yes!
I got it to work.
Yeah, I wouldn't go as far to say, like, they should let go of Candle or anything, because he is still recruiting at such a high level. He's putting guys in the NFL. Toledo may not quite have all of the MAC championship trophies to show for it, but
they've had success, program
you're
success.
they're still beating top programs. Like they beat a Power 4 program like every few years at least. And there's also a higher floor. Toledo is the highest floor in the MAC every single year. Like, that team is at least going to be going to a bowl game, which as Bowling Green Falcons, obviously we saw our program make a wrong decision and then spend almost a decade without a bowl game. So you don't want to go down that path.
Yeah, and like I think the problem with Toledo is just consistency. We touched on it last week when we started talking about them a little bit, but like that's what's going on. I think they can be like Louisville, like a similar team to Louisville if they just maintain consistency. I think they have a solid program. They have a lot to like be able to brag about. But they have a great atmosphere. If you ever find yourself in Northwest Ohio on game day, see if you can hit up the Glass Bowl. It's a fun experience.
The other, I mean, like, also, like, we received a comment on it this week. Back in the summer when we were previewing the MAC with Alex from the MAC Sports Connection, we asked him, like, what is holding Toledo back from a playoff berth? Because this team has the talent to make a run at it. And he said it. He said it's consistency. It's consistency. They seem to drop some games they should not lose. Either it's they don't adjust correctly, they turn the ball over too much, too many penalties, something like that goes on. And that's what we're consistently seeing from Toledo, and that's what they're seeing there. But we talk about some teams that have a lot worse than Toledo right now, and that is we had Black Sunday very early this year.
Very early.
Yeah, you not often on a Sunday in the middle of October do you get 3 coaches fired. Oregon State moves on from Trent Bray. The biggest news, Penn State moves on from James Franklin. And then the most famous coach fired, UAB fires Trent Dilfer. So let's kind of dive into what went wrong with each of them. Oregon State, kind of, like, that one was just a bit of a difficult situation. You have, uncertainty with the conference and everything. Lots of guys hit the portal. Coach leaves and leaves all of his stuff at Goodwill and bolts off from Michigan State. And Oregon State was in a bad spot. Trent Bray was an alum. I don't know if he even necessarily wanted the head coaching job, but he felt like he owed it to his alma mater to take it. At least that's something I've seen from some Oregon State fans. They've been saying that. So, like, it was just one of those things where the guy was in over his head, unfortunately, especially given this situation. But it got to the point. I mean, 0-7. But we've been trying to be Beaver believers here. Poor intern Tones was trying for 2 weeks to pick them and ended up getting it wrong every single time. Which, by the way, that's actually probably the only reason why he's not in the league is because of Oregon State. So Thank you, Beavs. But yeah, like at 0-7, like you're in a situation where you need to get your program in a good spot for when you have an actual conference next year.
Yeah, and like they are another program that has a lot that they like they're in a good area. They have a cool stadium, they have super dope uniforms. Like they have a lot. I haven't seen their like strength and conditioning facilities or anything, but I can imagine because they were in the Pac-12, they had to be a certain standard. So like they can be good. It's just they haven't been good. And I think they need to get this next one right, or else they're back in the back of the pack again. So I am sorry, back in the back of the pack.
Back in the back of the pack of the pack. Back.
But I mean, like, we are Beaver believers. We love.
My gosh.
We love the Beavs. I like to play as them in college football games, video games. Yeah, just a shame.
Sorry, we have weeknight Conference USA going on, and sometimes this is that time of year where it's going on, and we'll react live to things that happen. UTEP just threw UTEP was on the verge of going up 11 on Sam Houston. Their quarterback just threw a disaster of a pick, just fading back, getting hit, just chucks it. You're in field goal range, man. Just throw it away.
The biggest firing, I would say, came out of College Station.
State College.
State College. Why do I keep saying College Station?
Because it's the biggest firing since the firing at College Station. And the biggest buyout since then.
So, James Franklin got fired at Penn State. But for this one, we got to go all the way back when he was hired. If you remember, he came in on the heels of the Joe Pa firing. The whole everything.
I mean, there was a couple Bill O'Brien years in there, but
I mean, pretty much everything fell on James Franklin. So he had to go through sanctions. He had to fight through pretty much everything. Bill O'Brien did not leave Penn State in a great way, but he brought Penn State kind of back near the top. The problem is, once he got near the top, couldn't get to the top. He couldn't get past the Ohio States. When Michigan wasn't going 7-5, he couldn't get past Michigan. He couldn't get past Oregon when they got into the Big Ten. So that he's proven that he couldn't beat the top teams, and I would like to argue that no matter what happened versus UCLA and Northwestern, I could imagine that his job was on the line if he didn't have some sort of national championship appearance. I would say that he would probably have been fired in the offseason if he didn't get it under the, hey, we want to win. You haven't won. But I mean, then he got blown out by UCLA and lost to Northwestern. So that kind of just added fuel to the fire. He got canned, and now there's rumors swirling. There's groomers swirling. I would like to add one more hat to those rumors. Fran Brown. I think it would be a good spot for him to take a look at moving to. I like Syracuse, but there's only so much you can do in Syracuse. If you can imagine Fran Brown in Penn State, I think he would be able to start shaking up that top section of the Big Ten. So yeah, we're throwing our candidate out there and seeing what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. That one, that's a very under the radar name that I feel like has not been mentioned. He knows how to recruit the area very, very well. You could just tell that he's a really good coach. I know this year's not going super well. Well, I mean, you say
injuries,
not super well, but you lost your quarterback. You still beat Clemson. Syracuse, he's doing a really good job at Syracuse already. So that would definitely be a good move. I will say, I'm gonna shut down the idea of Kurt Cignetti to Penn State.
Yeah,
he doesn't need to go there.
No, he needs one more really good year at Indiana to just get a statue outside the stadium.
Not just that too, but don't forget, the only reason why he's not recruiting an elite level yet is because Indiana still has to get over that brand reputation and stuff. But you win at Oregon this year, you've already made a statement. He's already, just by that win, has opened the door to greater recruiting. So, and then they have all the money. They have tons of alums everywhere.
They have basketball money.
They're not going to be starved for any sort of money. By the way, they're struggling at basketball, so they are a football school now.
Yeah.
All of it's there. And again, you mentioned, having a statue. I mean, that's probably that may happen at some point. But I think the big thing is everyone answers to you. You're your alums, your boosters, everyone wants to kiss ass to you because you're the one that's building their program up. He goes to Penn State, he has to answer to the boosters, has to deal with what they have to say, and all that kind of stuff. And Cignetti does not sound like the kind of guy who wants to answer to anybody. And I think we have a comment in here. We see Queso has joined, and
Yeah.
did you see that? This is he may have just joined like a moment after I reacted to it, but yeah, I had a loud reaction on the show that was completely out of context for what we were talking about because of that absolutely crazy series of plays for Sam Houston and UTEP. Weeknight Conference USA is just off the rails right now. But yeah, so that one was definitely the big one, the big move. Matt, did you have any other last thoughts on Penn State?
Just Fran Brown. Just watch out for him. I think. Back to what I said before. I mean, he came from Georgia, great at recruiting. He could go to a school that already sets good recruits to you, and then he could just take that to the next level. And I think he can shake up the Big Ten.
Yeah, absolutely. And
you know who's not going to be shaking up the Big Ten?
not going to be shaking up anything is Trent Dilfer.
Dilfer Dimes.
This never worked. From the very beginning, UAB got instantly worse under him. It was a wild move to begin with to bring in a coach that had no experience at the college level. Sure, he brings a big name, but in the end, this ultimately backfired on UAB pretty badly. Especially when we consider they had Bryant Vincent as their interim coach. Bryant Vincent is bringing the most hope to ULM that we've seen in some time. He could have done really good things here and probably kept it going. Now, UAB has a lot to figure out. I think they can get back there. I think UAB can get themselves to contending in the American. They just need to make the right move. We need to make sure. I'm hoping, I know their fan base is going to try to hold them accountable. But, we're hoping that the guys up top are really dedicated to this because obviously, that the administration for UAB did not.
They just wanted a name.
They have a certain feeling. And they keep trying to mess up the football program and everything like that. So we'll have to see what happens there. But
yeah, Queso, you're right. Dilfer may have been a worse coach than NFL player, and you're right. That's not saying much. So, of the 3 firings, obviously Franklin probably has the best chance of landing a decent job, but you see the other 2 getting a head coaching job?
I think
probably not Dilfer.
Yeah, I don't know where Dilfer might go back to media after that.
Yeah, I would if I were him.
But yeah, you'll see Bray land as a defensive coordinator somewhere. Probably again somewhere where he has ties. So you're looking probably somewhere on the West Coast, and I think that'll be a good landing spot for him. Kind of learn from the situation and move forward there.
Yeah, I can either see James Franklin jumping into the studio, or taking maybe a lesser P4 upper G5 team, someone that still has a little bit of money. So
honestly,
Dan Mullen might go to Penn State, and we might be sitting with James Franklin at UNLV.
James Franklin to Virginia Tech would be very interesting.
That would be super dope.
He brought a lot of the best Virginia athletes to Penn State. Now instead goes to Virginia Tech and brings them there. And the thing with Virginia Tech, you don't have to overcome Ohio State or Jim Harbaugh, Michigan there.
A watered down Dabo Swinney.
Yeah, exactly. Your biggest competition seems to be a watered down Dabo Swinney. I mean, Mario Cristobal seems to be getting things going at Miami, but at some point he usually manages to trip up. So.
Maybe every other year, Florida State.
Yeah, every once in a while, or maybe it just varies by the game, I guess. I don't know what Florida State is. But, Mario Cristobal as a coach, I would put in the exact same tier as James Franklin.
Yeah.
I would put them literally the exact same. And
can't get over the hump. They got to beat each other, They got to. Someone's got to win that.
And James Franklin's actually more proven than Mario Cristobal is. So you're the top dog in the ACC. I think if you're a Virginia Tech fan, you take that any day.
Queso just said that he thought he saw a head coaching job at Penn State on LinkedIn, but it ended up being some assistant to the assistant type job that pays nothing. I would take that job still. I think that would be pretty fun, being like, hey, I coached at Penn State.
Like, you see all the money flowing in, like, I don't know what's up with these random, on-field assistant jobs that don't pay anything at all. Like, when I was in Buffalo a couple weeks ago, I talked to someone there. He wanted a job with Buffalo's football team when Lance Leipold was there. They offered him, literally nothing. Not even living wage. And
Dang.
He was like, well... Oh, by the way, you work 60 hours a week during football season, so...
Yeah.
No thanks.
Probably more. Watching film and all that and doing other stuff, depending on what it is. It was just something in the school office. Well, way to get our hopes up, okay, so appreciate it. Justin, is it time for surprises?
Yeah, absolutely. We're midway through the year. We've noticed there's a few surprises out there, and we decided to pinpoint one from each conference at the FBS level and really dive into how did they get here and what we think about them moving forward. So we jumped to the American. The South Florida Bulls. They entered the year. I think a lot of people were excited about Byron Brown and what he could do, the offense, some exciting weapons. But the question marks for the Bulls were, how could they survive that early schedule? And what would this team look like in the trenches? He provided a resounding answer to both questions. USF has improved significantly up front on both sides of the ball. Offensive line that is carving out run lanes and protecting Byron Brown. Defensive line that just makes it a long day for every quarterback they face. This team has evolved because of that. It ended up leading to them blowing out Boise State and taking down Florida in the swamp. Those were huge statement wins right away.
And they have the latest installment of the Grammatica dynasty. Talk about a football family. Screw the Mannings. Give me the Grammaticas.
Absolutely. Yeah. And Grammatica came in the clutch there, too. He was the one that made the game-winning kick against Florida. So you have a team that, they're ranked number 19 right now. Probably should be a bit higher, but you know how the polls work. This team has emerged to be, I would say almost, if you had to pick a team from the American right now, or really outside of the Power Four that is a favorite right now to make the playoff, South Florida might be your team.
I really think South Florida deserves to be in Power Four conference.
Yes.
I think they probably could have made the jump with UCF, Houston, and Cincinnati. I mean, it would have made an odd number in the Big 12. But
I think it's been a long journey for them, I would say. They had all that momentum right before 2010, 2007 obviously was the highlight of that when they reached number 2 in the polls. But even then, they kept making appearances in the top 10. They were in contention. They looked really good, and they kind of just let themselves fall behind facility wise and everything to not take advantage of that. And then they get left out when the Big East becomes the American, but when the Big East, the way we knew it, fell apart. We saw them kind of drop off a little bit, and it just took them too long to get everything together. But now they're after it. They are investing back in the football program. On-campus stadium coming next year. This
in a huge market that is underrated.
Yeah, absolutely. huge market for college football. This is a program that is absolutely going to be a top team in the American moving forward, and you never know where they can end up from there.
Well, moving on to the ACC, we have the Indiana of the East Coast, the Virginia Cavaliers. Justin, why has Virginia been so good this year?
I think it starts with the offense. Chandler Morris is having his best year in college football. Eric Morris, the quarterback whisperer, kind of, did his work with him last year, and Chandler Morris is having a great year. They've got weapons all over on the offense. And in general, I think the other thing we've seen from this team is really they aren't beating themselves anymore. They aren't turning the ball over too much. They aren't having an overwhelming amount of penalties. And it's really led to this team just taking off in a good way. This is the best Virginia team we have seen in a long time.
Quite possibly our entire life.
Like the last time I can remember Virginia being like this good was when like they were good enough to be good in like NCAA football 2005. That's like the last time I can remember Virginia being this good.
Well,
And
the good thing about the NIL and transfer portal is that it does open up opportunities for schools like Virginia. It's in a great spot. They're a basketball school, kind of ish. They're kind of falling off of that. So maybe all the money gets invested in football, and there's really no team other than James Madison doing well in the state. Liberty had a run of it for a little bit, but Virginia Tech dominated the state for so long. I think the Cavaliers making a comeback and kind of putting a wrench in the whole ACC.
Yeah, absolutely. You're seeing a scenario potentially develop where you could have Miami, Georgia Tech, and Virginia all undefeated coming out of the ACC conference play. Yeah, let's keep in mind that Virginia did play NC State, but it was apparently a non-conference game.
Mm-hmm.
Why they decided to schedule each other for that never makes sense to me. All I know is we lost out on NC State traveling to Appalachian State, and I'm still mad about it. And I don't know how Virginia lost that game either. It makes no sense they lost that.
Nothing about it makes sense.
Yeah.
We can move on to a topic that hits a little closer to home. So,
yeah,
here at Updog, we have a running joke that Scott Satterfield has failed his way up to Cincinnati. And for a majority of the time, that has been true. He didn't put up the best records at Louisville, ended up at Cincinnati, didn't put up the best records there, and we thought he was going to continue failing his way up. But no. Outside of playing a home game 2 hours from their opponent and like 8 hours from home, Cincinnati has dominated their opponents. And I've bet you if that game against Nebraska was played in Cincinnati or like anywhere close to Cincinnati, I feel like they would have won that game too. I think it was just one of those where Cincinnati and Nebraska are pretty similar teams if you look at it. Solid quarterback, good run game, okay defense. But Cincinnati's been a huge surprise in the Big 12. Nobody really was talking about them making some noise. We thought that they would be able to like maybe take down and do an upset of like a team or two, but not this. This isn't what we expected. It's a pleasant surprise. All that money definitely went to making this thing work. At $385 million for practice facility.
Yeah, they are playing really well, and I think really where it starts with this team is in the trenches. They are winning up front on offense and defense, and that has helped them tremendously. Like, it is possible the only team in the Big 12 that there's probably only two teams that in the Big 12 that are better up front than UC this year, and that is Texas Tech and Utah. That's it. That's literally it. They they are just so good up there. And then the passing game has evolved since the Nebraska game. You have a new guy stepping up every single week, pretty much, and just a variety of good weapons. Like, it didn't show against Nebraska. That was a game where they kind of struggled to pass the ball, but ever since then, they've figured out when to get their guys involved, when to find the best matchups to get them the ball. Like, they have dudes all over that offense. And then Evan Pryor, Tawi Walker, a running back, a great duo doing work behind that offensive line.
There's a running joke that says, like, for Brennan Sorsby, that like, your quarterback is DMing the cheerleader at whatever sorority. Our quarterback is DMing wide receivers and to get Caldwell to go there.
Yeah. And it worked.
Yeah. It's been pretty fun to watch. I mean, being local, watching Bowling Green get stomped on by UC wasn't that fun. It was kind of like when we went to Louisville, Jacksonville State, kind of had the same feel to it. But
a little
yeah.
bit closer than that one, but
yeah. But fun times at UC.
Yeah, I'm still crack up about you because you didn't know what to do.
It was tough. I kind of went with the home crowd on that one, but we sat on the Bowling Green side. I didn't get heckled hardly at all, so it was nice.
Yeah, I think both fan bases are really friendly, and like you, it makes me want to go to another UC game like later this year just to keep catching this team play because it's great to see great football being played in our city.
In historic Nippert Stadium.
Now finally give us a Nippert at night game.
Right. We want all black UC, which they would probably screw it up and do all red at night. Like,
we've not had a Nippert at night game pretty much since UC has joined the Big 12. So come on, guys. Give them
you know who's had a surprising number of night games the past couple of years?
Northwestern.
Yes, Northwestern. Playing in the makeshift stadium on the lake. Their next stadium is going to be super dope. Ryan Field is going to be electric when it gets built. If they can get some steam going further than this year, you can make an argument of Nebraska being a big surprise, but we weren't really that surprised because Matt Rule year 3 is Matt Rule year 3. It's a thing.
Yeah.
Northwestern, though, some could have made the argument that they could have gone winless. They have done the exact opposite. They are sitting at what, 1 loss right now, Justin?
They're 4-2. But, lots of people didn't have them winning 4 games all year.
Yeah.
And here they are. And they were buried after week 1. They got stomped by a really good Tulane team. And they were left for dead at that point. Here they are, though. 3 straight wins, winning at Penn State. And this Northwestern team, they aren't like a Big Ten contender surprise. Like, I think we may not have the days where Northwestern can surprisingly make a run to the Big Ten title game. But I definitely think this team can squeeze out a bowl game.
Yeah. And then if UCLA went on a little bit longer run, we would definitely have UCLA here. But they're another honorable mention. Northwestern, though, those Purple Cats are killing it.
Conference USA, which, by the way, this is where we'll hit this question that we got in the chat. Do we know why Sam Houston's played their last 2 games in Houston instead of Huntsville? The answer is that Sam Houston is currently renovating their stadium, so they had to go and play at a soccer stadium in Houston. Very weird situation. Like, I'm pretty sure they're like, I don't know, they're probably like playing like at least an hour from campus. So that's kind of an interesting spot there. But yeah, that's what's going on with Sam Houston. Back to Conference USA, the surprise team there is without a doubt Kennesaw State. I don't think no one had hope for this team. They thought maybe Kennesaw State could squeeze out a win or two. all the chaos. Like, they had a coach last year forced down their first year of FBS. It was like, what is this program doing? Turns out they know what they're doing because Jerry Mack has come in, quickly evolved things. Defense is playing some really good ball. And then you have the offense really starting to take off. They have a good young quarterback in Amari Odom playing well. And they have a good backup in Dexter Williams. He stepped in against one of the best defenses in the conference. And I
surprising transfer in.
Yeah. Well, he was originally the starter. And then because Odom looked so good, he beat him out for the job.
But it looked like he was going to be the starter at Georgia Southern. So it was kind of like, why did you transfer from Georgia Southern to Kennesaw State? Well, now we know why. They got a good thing going. I went against my gut in picking Kennesaw State last week, and
we all did.
Yeah, pretty much. Kennesaw State, the Who's down in Whoville. They I had to get that one out. I like what Kennesaw State has going on. I think that if they can continue on this trajectory, that we will have them in the same conversation as James Madison.
Yeah.
One day.
Like, even though like they didn't come up with like the history of James Madison or anything like that, like this is quickly evolving as we have the weeknight Conference USA games going on to give this team, the limelight on national TV. Like, this is evolving into one of the best stories in college football.
Yeah. Kind of speeding it up a little bit. We're going to shoot on over to the MAC. We've covered two teams already. Neither of them were surprising in the fact of being good. Toledo, a little surprising with where they're at with things right now. But Western Michigan, they are sitting at the top of the MAC. What's going on, Justin?
Yeah, this team, the Broncos are led by their defense. The defense has been pretty much dynamic ever since they've hit conference play. I mean, it played pretty well against some of their tougher competition. They opened the season with Michigan State and then Illinois and North Texas. All three of those, especially like Illinois, North Texas, are really good teams. But they hit conference play and their defense has just been locking teams down. Like, they held Ball State to 88 yards this past week. That is absurdly good.
Yeah.
Their offense...
Though Ball State, not great, but that's a different show's content.
Yeah. But, offense, kind of still a work in progress. They like to run the ball a lot, but it mostly does the job while their defense really leads the way.
You know how you can win some games?
How?
Elite defense and even just an okay run game. All you got to do is just start killing some clock.
Yeah. And really, that's the equation in the MAC. And especially as we start to get towards the colder part of the year, those weeknight games, you're going to see it work. This formula continue to work. I really like what Lance Taylor's building down there. We go to the Mountain West. San Diego State. This team was one that kind of entered the year with not a lot of expectations. It's like, hey, maybe Sean Lewis can rally this team to like a bowl game or something. No, this is a full-fledged contender for the Mountain West title. They made their statement against Cal when they blasted the Golden Bears 34-0. And it's about this defense. Like, Sean Lewis is an offensive-minded guy, but the defense is what's leading the way. They have NFL guys in defensive end Trey White and corner Chris Johnson who are absolutely incredible. Like, you're talking probably guys who are at least going somewhere in the top 3 rounds. And their defense, when half their games this year, the defense has not given up a touchdown. And it would have been 4 out of 6, but Nevada scored a touchdown in garbage time last week. That is absurd. And the offense is, they kind of went with a young guy and Denegal at quarterback. It went kind of ugly against Washington State early on in the year on the road. But ever since then, like, him and the offense have been playing really good football. This is one of the most dangerous teams in the Mountain West right now. I would not be surprised if they came out of nowhere to win the conference.
Yeah, I think that Boise State and UNLV are very beatable. Each team continues to win, but like San Diego State, they have the tools right now to pull off some upsets and maybe squeak in to the playoff.
Maybe. I don't know. That Washington State loss might be disqualifying, unfortunately.
Yeah. At least it wasn't lost to Oregon State.
We moved to the SEC, and Texas A&M is the team here. The Aggies
gotta be.
The Aggies, like, this is like the one offseason where like it felt like they kind of went under the radar a little bit. Like, everyone was like, oh, they could be decent, but like no one except for us talked about them potentially making the playoff. Yeah. And here we are.
They did lose all their big names from last year. They lost Stewart, they lost Scorton, they lost Wegman to the transfer portal. It just seemed like the Aggies were going to be down and out and not really competing in the SEC. And Mike Elko does Mike Elko things, former BG coach. Just pulling out that Mac grit and transferring it to the SEC. He just proved that he's a good coach and can take whatever he's got and turn it into something. And I think that's a testament to him and also why this team is doing so good.
Yeah, absolutely. And like the offense, like they did a good job with the portal, bringing in some more explosive weapons to help Marcel Reed out in the passing game. And you saw the defense kind of pick it up as the year has gone on. Their third down defense has been lunacy lately. I think they've given up 2 third downs in SEC play so far. So they are playing some really good football right now. And you look at their schedule, like there's some tough games, but there's no real obvious like game that you're looking at. Like there's no Alabama or Georgia that you're looking at and going, oh, they're definitely going to lose that one.
Speaking of Alabama, we have an Alabama question. Thoughts on the disconnect of Ty Simpson and Ryan Williams?
Yeah, I don't know what is going on there. Like Ryan Williams is potentially the most disappointing receiver in college football this year. Like, such high expectations for him. He was put on the cover of college football with Jeremiah Smith, and it just has not gone anywhere, really. It's very weird for such an offensive-minded coach to not be able to find a way to get them together. But it seems like the less they try to get Ryan Williams involved, the offense tends to work better.
I think what defenses have figured out is I think they're rotating towards Williams and just trying to take him away. Like, I think a lot of them are just saying, beat us any other way, you're just not going to beat us with him.
Yeah. But even then, like, you get in a situation where they do try to throw him the ball, and like he's had some problems with drops.
'Tis the case with elite speedy receivers. I mean, they gotta get it figured out if they want to do anything past winning a few games in the SEC. So they're gonna have to get it figured out. They're gonna have to get on the same page. It's Alabama. Caleb DeBoer is a good coach. He'll get them on the same page at some point. It just may be a little too late, but I mean, by then maybe Texas A&M is a top 5 team.
Well, technically, I think they are already, but it was kind of one of those things where you blink and all of a sudden they're there.
Yeah, they just kind of squeaked in there. They just kind of like replaced Texas.
Going to the state of Alabama and teams that Alabama refuses to play in the Sun Belt. Troy is the team to shout out here. Last year was kind of uninspiring a little bit, but Troy is just a program that always seems to find a way back to the top of the Sun Belt. And they have done it again. Their defense is showing up like everyone expected, but it's really been their offense kind of evolving throughout the year. They even got through the injury of quarterback Goose Crowder, and the guy who stepped in, Tucker Kilcrease, has been playing really good football. It didn't click for him initially, but you saw in the fourth quarter against Buffalo was the moment where it hit for him. He led them on a comeback win there, and now they've been rolling ever since. He was absolutely incredible in leading the Trojans to a comeback win over Texas State this past weekend. Troy is now 4-2 and back in a familiar place on top of the Sun Belt West. We're surprised by this, but we shouldn't be. This is quietly one of the Sun Belt's best programs and consistently good.
Yeah. They always kind of like get forgotten about pretty early. And then they just kind of squeak their way into conversation every year. And like when you look at the wins that they have, like I know I'm wearing a Texas State hat, but they beat Texas State in overtime. They beat a good Buffalo Bulls defense. They did lose to Memphis, but to be fair, a lot of teams are losing to Memphis.
Everyone that's played Memphis has lost to Memphis. Memphis, there's no shame in losing that game. And then, Clemson's not quite the same, but for Troy, like, I think there's a lot of pride in that effort. They had the lead at halftime against Clemson, came up a little short in that one. So, like, even their losses, like, there's no shame in any of the losses they have taken. If I had to pick someone to win the Sun Belt West right now, it would probably be Troy because of how good this team's playing. And I think the reason why they go under the radar is because this is a program that recruits the JUCO ranks a lot, and that's kind of a very underrated recruiting base in college football in general. And lots of times I don't think a lot of people know or care to find out about how good those players are. There's some people that follow
Cam Newton went there.
Yeah. I mean, there's some people that follow those ranks, and when they tell you, hey, this guy's a dude, you usually believe them. But Troy does a good job finding talent there, and that's why, but they go under the radar because, again, like, not a lot of people are looking in that direction, but that's how they find their dudes, and it's a formula that's worked for that program for such a long time.
If it ain't broken, don't fix it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we get to our final topic before we get to our picks. The FCS Committee has released their top 10 rankings. So we'll go ahead and go through those now. You've probably seen them by now, so we're just going to generally try to just give our reactions. So number 1 and number 2, we had no surprises here. North Dakota State number 1, South Dakota State number 2. No, not a surprise at all. Both teams have been absolute wagons. Cole Payton for North Dakota State has been a star. It looks like he very well is going to be the next Bison quarterback to get drafted in the NFL. He looks really good.
Hopefully has better success.
Yes, than some of them. South Dakota State, again, like, just very, very good team. So you have those two at the top. And get ready because next weekend, not this weekend, next weekend's the Dakota Marker game. That one, I believe, might be on ESPN too. So make sure you catch that one. I'm already going to say we're going to be picking that game next week. That one's going to be huge. So then we get to number 3. Number 3 is Tarleton State. And now the question is, like, the loser of the Dakota Marker, do they have to worry about falling behind Tarleton State if the Texans are undefeated at the end of the year?
I would say so. If you watched Tarleton State in week 1 at all, you only saw a fraction of what they could do. They're a very dangerous team, seemingly coming out of nowhere, but Tarleton State fans will be like, yeah, we knew this.
Yeah, Tarleton State fans, by the way, are an extremely cocky fan base.
There's an E!
It's a lot of fun.
I got ripped to shreds in week 1 because I forgot to put an E in Tarleton, and then my phone auto-corrected to it.
When the game got announced against Bowling Green, some Tarleton State fan wanted to bet on Tarleton State versus Bowling Green in 2026. Which, by the way, in hindsight, Bowling Green, why did we schedule this game? Why did we do this, guys? Anyways, this is a program that's definitely on the rise. However, I'll point to number 4, Montana State. Montana State's ahead of number 5, Montana, who is still undefeated. So the committee still values Montana State very highly. South Dakota State has a critical win.
Tarleton State is just Texas State fans. Sacred Heart versus Montana.
Yeah. So that's a good one. This is getting us way off topic.
Yeah,
but
sorry, we're getting an influx of comments right now that we're trying to.
Sacred Heart, Montana
handle.
is just like one of the most delightfully random games I've seen. Like, it's the middle of October, they should be in conference play, but hey, here we go. Sacred Heart's traveling out to Montana. I love it.
You were saying something about Montana State?
Yeah, Montana State coming in number 4. South Dakota State beat the Bobcats in Bozeman. That is a critical win for South Dakota State. And I think the respect you're seeing Montana State get might mean that South Dakota State is safe if they were to lose to North Dakota State in competitive fashion. North Dakota State's higher than them, may not have the same quality of wins. So we'll see what happens there. Obviously, if like North Dakota State gets blown out, you'll probably see them fall below Montana. But we'll have to wait and see what goes on there. And you're probably still looking at the possibility that Montana or Montana State could jump Tarleton State. That'll be a very interesting thing. If you're not familiar with the FCS level, it's that those
Chaos.
top two seeds are critical. Mm-hmm. That means you never have to go on the road during the playoffs. You play at home the whole way until the championship game, which is at a neutral site this year in Nashville. So number 2 is a critical spot. You get to even number 4, and for the most part, like, you again don't have to go on the road. So again, Cats Grizz, as they call it in Montana, the cool marketable name, the Brawl of the Wild, will prove critical there for a top 4 spot. Moving on to the rest of the rankings here, we have UC Davis number 6, a very fun freshman quarterback in Caden Pinnock.
Very, very good.
Like, very quiet Big Sky contender.
Yes. Which is weird because we talked about them last year, and then this year we just didn't.
They're just kind of like floating along right now. Like, I think they kind of had some results early. Like, Mercer was coming back to. Oh wait, I'm not supposed to mention that. That was the game that wasn't. Anyways, they struggled with. They had to make a huge comeback to survive an upset bid at Utah Tech. But we're starting to see them round into form. Again, with a freshman quarterback, they may have been just trying to learn to win, and they got it done. Now you're seeing them get ready for the meat of their schedule. I'm not sure.
Good.
I was going to say, I'm not sure how we'll see them, if they'll reach the top 4 or not. But very, very good team. Definitely think you're looking at a candidate for top 8.
Up next, you may have heard this team from a basketball school, as they had beaten my current grad school, Xavier, in the tournament. Lehigh.
It was Duke. It was Duke, Matt. We have this conversation very often.
Yeah, every Duke. Year I get it mixed up.
The second round was Xavier Lehigh. Lehigh actually gave Xavier a rough time that whole game. But anyways, Lehigh.
Now they're a football school and they're back to upset everyone.
I love seeing Lehigh show up in number 7. You didn't know, with the reputation of the Patriot League, if they would get the respect they deserved. This is a team that's got dudes all over. And they are...
Dogs.
Yeah. And they are really knocking around everyone they're playing. Very good to see them get some respect here. I think Lehigh is probably favored to win the rest of the way, too. So you're looking at a team that already feels good because... Again, that next key cutoff is top 8. Top 8, you're getting a first-round bye in the playoffs. So Lehigh has to feel good about being there. Number 8 was a little bit of a surprise. This is higher than the polls had them. The North Dakota Fighting Hawks. North Dakota's only losses were to Kansas State, barely, and Montana, barely. And you could argue that North Dakota probably feels like they should have won both those games. So this is also a really good team. This is also huge for North Dakota State and South Dakota State again, because this is another quality opponent coming along. Or maybe the Fighting Hawks try to play spoiler. We'll see. But I think that was a huge ranking for the Missouri Valley. It was kind of interesting to see them get more respect than some of the other Missouri Valley teams, like Southern Illinois and Illinois State, that have been appearing ahead of them in the polls. And then we get to number 9. Monmouth.
Or, as we like to just annoy one of our friends, Monmouth.
We call them Monmouth. Oh, to annoy one of our friends. That's still so great.
Yeah.
We might have to tell him that Monmouth is good at football now. But anyways, this offense is very electric. If you have not watched them play, you missed your chance because they're buried away on Flow Sports for the rest of the regular season. But this team will be very fun to watch in the playoffs for sure. They look like by far the best team in the CAA. They put up like 51 on a respected Villanova team. So this ranking was very much...
Barely lost to Charlotte, an FBS program.
Yeah. And that was Charlotte with Connor Harrell. So like very good there. Obviously when they come to the playoffs, this team has probably a better quarterback, better receivers, better running back than just about anyone they'll play. But, of course, their big question mark is going to be, how can they hold up in the trenches against some of these bigger teams they go up against?
By the way, with them being in the CAA, I just have to mention this. Xavier University Musketeers need to field an FCS football program and put them in the CAA. Do it already.
Yeah, actually, I made another pitch today because they announced like they have like an official Xavier beer or something, and I was like, all right, you guys got a beer, now I need a football team.
For sure. You have pizza machines. Come on, pizza vending machines, and you don't have an FCS football program. What's wrong with you?
Or even just play non-scholarship cheap and join the Patriot or Pioneer League.
Yeah, that's fine too.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. That'd be great. We'd have FCS football right in our town. We have number 10. We wrap it up here. Tennessee Tech. Tennessee Tech has not played a hard schedule, but this is a team that has been an absolute wagon all year. They have destroyed everyone in their path. And, I mean, you know, they scheduled Chattanooga. That's usually a respectable program, but Chattanooga's going through a rough year. And so they tried, like, you can only schedule, like, play who you play. So it was nice to see that kind of balance where, yes, they may not have the quality wins, but the committee looked at them and went, but this Tennessee Tech team is really, really good, and we want to respect that by putting them in the top 10.
I mean, they put up 72 on Davidson, 66 on Western Illinois. They're starting to go down a little bit, but 35 to over Tennessee State, and then it was a little bit closer against Charleston Southern. But they play Lindenwood, which is where the Bearcats got Caldwell from.
Well, they don't have Caldwell anymore.
No, so you can expect...
Wait. Is that on at home or on the road?
For Tennessee Tech? On the road.
Ooh. There's going to be some storms in that area. That's a one to watch there for Tennessee Tech, because after all, last year Southeast Missouri State. Now Tennessee Tech is a more balanced team than Southeast Missouri was. Southeast Missouri could only throw the ball, and they ended up in a monsoon against Lindenwood and lost because they couldn't throw the ball in such bad weather. So that one's a weather game to watch out for that we didn't realize. But I'm very happy for this Tennessee Tech team. Their Eagle logo, by the way, is one of the most underrated logos in college football.
For sure.
Yeah.
One of the
like when it's like that full one with like the wings and everything, and they managed to put the Tech in the wings, it's really good. I think we actually have a decent like following from like their entire coaching staff. So shout out to those guys.
Guess what, Justin?
It's pick'em time.
It's pick'em time. So, Justin, do you want to give us a recap of where we're at with the rankings? Because I want you to brag.
Yeah, no, look at that. smile of his. So as you can tell by Matt's grin, he has moved up towards first place. He is in a tie with Omar.
I feel like I've been
49
tied with
and
Omar
28.
all year.
You really have. Like, no matter what, like, you two just seem to follow each other. Yeah, so you guys are 49 and 28. The intern Tones has dropped down a little bit. He's one game behind at 48 and 29. And then one more game back is myself and Bobby of the TNT podcast. For some reason, I'm always tied with someone. It seems to rotate every week. And then we have CFB Home still in last, but after a great week last week is making a comeback. So we go to our pick'ems here. We start with the American. We have the Battle of the Bones. If you've not seen this trophy, it is a glorious rack of ribs. And I do remind you that we'll need to figure out the details if this were to happen. Like, if UAB were to upset Memphis, Omar did say that he would come on the podcast and we will be singing the Chili's Baby Back Ribs song. So keep an eye out for that if UAB were to somehow win. Memphis is obviously really good. UAB, as we talked about with the firing of Trent Dilfer, not very good, but maybe there's an interim coach bump.
No, not in this case. If it was a handful of other situations, I would say yes. But Memphis is actually a really good football team. Very underrated. Going with Memphis.
Yeah, I have to go with the Tigers as well. I think I could see UAB coming out a little bit more inspired. Maybe their defense doesn't give up 50 points, but I still see Memphis just having too much firepower for the Blazers.
And it was unanimous. Everybody picked Memphis.
Yep, yeah, everyone picked Memphis in this one. We go to the ACC. Georgia Tech at Duke. The Yellow Jackets, still undefeated. Still looking for a spot in the college football playoff. The Duke Blue Devils on a hot streak. This team has been playing really, really well lately. Do we have an upset alert?
I don't know, Justin. Are we behind the sticks? We, for those of you who don't get that reference, we played as Duke for quite a while in NCAA 14 and came up every time we scored a touchdown. We looked at each other and went,
Duke.
Yeah. We like Duke a lot. Duke football, Duke basketball is overrated. That being said, I think Georgia Tech is a legit football team this year. I think they can compete with most of the top programs out there. I got Georgia Tech.
Blue Devils are actually favored in this one.
Are they really?
Yeah. So that is what has the upset siren sounding for me. You couple that with the fact that, like, Georgia Tech, like, while they've been winning, they've been, they are a wagon of a team. But you've been seeing Georgia Tech kind of make more errors than they have, even compared to last year. Like, this is a bit of more of a mistake-prone Georgia Tech team. That kind of, it feels like it's bound to happen at some point where they drop one. And this Duke Georgia Tech series in general is always really weird. It seems like the team that's not supposed to win always seems to win. So give me the Blue Devils in the upset here. Chaos reigns. We go to
Tones also.
Yes, Tones has joined me on picking Duke as well.
Yes. You always forget to add his picks when he's not here.
I know. I think we forgot to do that with your picks as well. Or wait, no, you joined last week. But
I joined just for the picks. Yeah.
We go to the Big 12. This is the game of the week. Really, college game day should have been here. The Holy War. I don't know why it's this early in the year. It should be during rivalry week. But Utah and BYU, there is no love lost between these programs. BYU is undefeated, hunting for another college football playoff berth, looking really good up front, but Utah is also really good up front. And they got a difference maker in Devon Dampier. Who do you think wins this one?
Utah would be undefeated if they didn't have to go against the wagon of Texas Tech.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they got blown out by that wagon, and then that's going to happen to a lot of teams this year. Texas Tech, both good at football and basketball, by the way. I got Utah. I think that they're kind of done losing to BYU. I think they are a better team than years past. They finally have their starter healthy in the lineup. And don't have to deal with starting a quarterback, having him get hurt, and dealing with the backup the rest of the year. I think they got a good thing going. And I think Utah going to make a statement win.
Yeah, this is a game which is like there are dudes all over the place. I think this is finally the game because like you're starting to see Bear Bachmeier come close to making a killing turnover or something. So I have to go with the more experienced quarterback. I'm going to go with the Utes in this one. Utah also has a revenge factor. Keep in mind they missed a bowl game last year because of, I would say you could point to this game. Utah lost in very controversial fashion. So you have that revenge aspect on their mind as well. Give me the Utes in this one. But the intern has gone with BYU.
Interesting, we'll see. Intern.
Maybe the intern knows ball. We'll
Maybe
out.
He just needs to find his wooden leg. He's shipping up to Boston, for those of you who missed the beginning of the show.
We go to the Big Ten. Nebraska at Minnesota. The battle for the $5 Bits Broken Chair trophy. This one is a Friday night game on Fox. Nebraska currently with only one loss, but probably, they're 1-1 in their actual big games, beating UC, lost to Michigan. Minnesota, on the other hand, kind of just, they're undefeated at home. Who do you think wins this one?
I still got Nebraska. I'm running with Matt Rule year 3. PJ Fleck rowing the boat up there in Minnesota. Gonna finish a very consistent 9-4 this year. But I got Nebraska contributing to those 4 losses.
Minnesota, I kind of question their defense a little bit, but at the same time, I think I like Minnesota better here. They're at home. You got PJ Fleck rowing the boat. You have on Nebraska's side, Nebraska has to rely on throwing the ball a lot. They cannot run the ball. Their offensive line, just simply put, it stinks. I have heard that from Nebraska fans. They are not happy with their offensive line. That's going to be winning. I think on the road like this is where you see that become an issue. And Minnesota rows that boat to victory.
It was pretty close. I'll admit that. It wasn't just I'm going with Nebraska. It was I guess I'll go with Nebraska. It was a tough decision. I like both teams, by the way.
And obviously keep an eye out if Minnesota does score in the third quarter. Free cheese curds on Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
Nice little snack for the weekend.
What did intern pick?
He has gone with Nebraska in this one.
Shout out to Austin.
Yep, he decided to be kind to Austin on that one with that one. Conference USA, we are obviously all the Conference USA games have started by now. Don't worry, we got these. Trust me, we got these picks in before this game started. Delaware at Jacksonville State. We're not looking good right now, boys. All 3 of us here have picked Delaware, and Jacksonville State's up 21-6. The game flipped big time on a Jacksonville State scoop and score touchdown. So
we all forget to redeem the cheese curds.
I even mentioned it on the feed the last time. I noticed when it happened and then still forgot about it.
Yeah. I still have Delaware, despite them being down 21-6. I'm not changing my answer. I think that there's plenty of time left. The third quarter is relatively just started, so there's still some time for them to get going. So yeah, Blue Hens.
Yeah.
Joe Flacco's alma mater.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You can't change your pick anyway. The picks are in. The graphic is made. It's all over already. Um, so maybe Delaware will save us here with a comeback. Otherwise, shout out to CFB Home and Bobby of the TNT podcast for getting that one correct. We move to Maction. We're going off the grid a little bit here with Akron at Ball State. These two desperately need a win here. The winner can kind of start to feel good about their season. Obviously, the Zips are not going to be able to make a bowl game. Ball State, on the other hand, a win here, and Ball State can really start to have those dreams of maybe making a bowl. Who do you think wins this one, Matt?
I think if Ball State can beat Ohio, I think that they can beat Akron.
Yeah, I think this game being in Muncie is a huge key here. Maybe that was kind of excuse me. That was kind of the thing. That was kind of the thing. Matt, we're done. We're done. Jacksonville State's got another long touchdown run. We're cooked. That was probably Cam Cook that did it too. Oh no, it was. Cam Cook just cooked us.
Well, on to Akron, Ball State.
yeah. So the one thing I'm noticing for Ball State, I think they've made Muncie a tough place to play in the MAC again. They're defending their home field, and that's what I'm starting to like from them. So I think that's what they do here. The other key is Akron. Akron has kind of struggled to string together consistent performances. Their offense shows up some weeks, doesn't show up the other. I'm projecting a bit of an off week here for the Zips. And then you have the intern also picking Ball State. CFB Home and Omar are the only ones that went the other way with Akron. Now, a huge matchup in the Mountain West. UNLV at Boise State. The winner of this one is definitely the favorite to win the conference. UNLV 6-0. They have played in some absolutely wild games. Like, every single game they have been in has been crazy in some sort of way. Whether that's on the field or maybe they win handedly, but in a snowstorm or hail, depending on who you ask. Referencing the Wyoming game there. And then you have Boise State. Probably, they're 4-2. They're not looking at a playoff berth this year. I think they've already lost too much, and by too much to consider that. But the Broncos still looking to win the Mountain West and establish themselves as a top dog here. Who do you think wins this one?
I got UNLV. I don't think it matters the craziness. I think that they'll be able to pull it out, and I think they have the momentum in the Mountain West right now. Aside from San Diego State, I guess.
Yeah. I think the big key there is, like, can UNLV slow down Boise State's running attack enough to force them to pass? If Boise State is forced to pass, they fold like a cheap lawn chair. The thing is, though, UNLV's run defense has not been quite good enough to do that. I think we're going to see Riley and Gaines have a big game. Really allow the Broncos to command things there. UNLV's going to make it difficult. They're going to keep it within the score. But I think Boise State wins this one. And the intern has joined me on that one. The intern also has taken taken Boise State. We move to the Pac-12. We have only two options here. Just for the sake of the Beaver believers, I just about had us pick Oregon State and Lafayette, but decided against it. That game's a weird at-the-dark game. We have Washington State at Virginia. Virginia looking to keep their hot streak going. Washington State kept it close with Ole Miss.
Virginia. They're good. They're at home. Washington State has to travel all the way across the country. It's hard going this way.
Yeah. Traveling all the way across the country again. Second week in a row.
They should have just stayed over here and did classes online or something.
Yeah. So that's a pretty brutal stretch. I think Virginia wins as well. Better team, and again, tough circumstances for Washington State. We move
Same
to the
with
SEC.
Tones. Tones, I think, picked Virginia.
Yeah, the intern went with them as well. CFB home, though, went with Washington State. Bold pick.
I think they're just, at this point, just chucking some things out just to be different to catch back up. Shout out to College Football Home. We love you guys.
SEC, Texas A&M, and Arkansas. Can the revenge of Bobby Petrino finally strike? Does he finally pull off an upset win against the Aggies? And
I think this would be a big statement, but no.
Yeah,
I think
I promise if he does it, then we're done with this. We're done picking Arkansas games.
Yeah. All of us pick the Aggies. Gig 'em. Shout out Queso.
Yep. Yeah, couldn't pick against Texas A&M here. I think their defense is on too much of a hot streak right now to be vulnerable to a pretty good Arkansas offense. So I think Texas A&M rolls here. Although, again, that rain and stuff that's talked about out there, maybe rain does become a factor. Keep an eye out for that. I actually think rain probably helps Texas A&M more than it does Arkansas. So, sorry, Arkansas. The pig is roasted either way. We moved to the Sun Belt. Huge game here. We've been talking about this game for a while. And then Old Dominion got smacked by Marshall out of nowhere last week. Now we have the Monarchs in position where they need to recover and find a way back. If they win this one, I mean, they're back in charge of the Sun Belt. James Madison is the Sun Belt's last hope at a college football playoff berth. Who do you think wins this one?
I left my hat upstairs, but I got to go James Madison. They are a very good football team. I also just played this game in College Football 25, and I won 70-14. Expect the same score.
Whoa, okay. Yeah, we'll see about that one. I don't even know if James Madison can score 17 on FCS East. No, James Madison's kind of concerned me in offense a little bit. Their offense has really struggled with consistency in recent weeks. I know their defense is really good, but offense is concerning me. Old Dominion, on the other hand, very good on both sides of the ball. Yes, they didn't show either one of that last week. All of their strengths became weaknesses for some reason, but this week I think they turned it around. The Monarchs get back to playing a high level of football. Colton Joseph and the Monarchs get it done and pull off a huge win over the Dukes to successfully eliminate the Sun Belt from playoff contention.
In very Sun Belt fashion.
Yes, very much so. That is the Fun Belt for you, you know? Fun Belt is not for the weak. The intern has also picked Old Dominion to win this game, by the way. Now we move to FCS, and this is making a trip to the Southland. It's been something we've been waiting for a while now, and we got a big one here. UTRGV Vaqueros. These are two of our favorite programs at the FCS level.
Yes.
UTRGV travels to face Lamar. These are two programs that have been very good to us in general. The Vaqueros, obviously, they're one loss to a good Southeastern team. That was also on the road. Lamar has been playing good themselves. Who do you think wins this one?
I think this is the Vaqueros' biggest game yet. This is their toughest test. I still think they can win it. It's an away game. They get to travel, get out of super southern Texas. We'll see if they can pull it off, but I got the Vaqueros. I think they can do it.
And Eddie Lee Marbarger, we trust.
Yes.
The intern agrees with you as well, by the way. But I have to do it. I have to go the other way. I have to go with Lamar in this one. I think this team is just a very clutch team. They trailed with, I think it was like 7 seconds left last week and won by 10. Yes, they managed to do that. So that is the team you're dealing with here. This team knows how to win. They are one of the best stories at the FCS level this year. And winning here definitely keeps the Southland alive for potentially multiple bids. So I'm going to go with Lamar in this one. They win a close one over our much beloved Vaqueros.
The intern took my opinion on this and chose the Vaqueros.
Yeah, we were all very split across the board in this one. Yeah.
Well, that is our pick'ems. We'll see if I continue to be number one tied or drop down to last place because I know nothing about football. We'll see. I think this is a good spot to end, Justin. Any parting thoughts?
No, I mean, other than sulking in the fact that both of us are definitely going to be starting 1-0 because Delaware is down 28-6 now.
Yeah. Well, follow us at Updog Sports Talk on all social media. Obviously, if you're watching this, it's either on YouTube or X. We're live on both on Wednesday nights at 8. You can find us on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, iHeartRadio. I think there's another one out there that I'm forgetting. I'm just really behind on posting there, so that there will be some episodes coming at some point in the by the end of the year. And then follow, like I said before, follow us at Updog Sports Talk on everything else. We will see you guys next time.